All right, let's talk about number one, Happy USA Family, or well, whatever the full title was of the show. I get the title of the show, but man, it's long winded. This is a new A24 animated series produced and by A24, anyways, and it's on Amazon for you guys to watch. It's about a Muslim family or that during 9/11, they're just trying to make it by. You know, be seen as kind of a typical American family and all the struggles with that. And it's a comedy series. It's kind of based on the creator's real life experiences growing up in this time. I thought this could have been a really cool show. The trailer didn't wow me, but I decided to check it out. I think there were two big things that turned me off from this show before I watched it, though, that just made me go, First of all, the animation is really ugly, and not like the normal way adult animated shows are ugly. Like, there is just no way to describe this style other than just ugly. I genuinely don't like looking at it. It's not like I can. It's very watchable when I watch the episodes, but it's still like it doesn't look good. I don't like. There's nothing visually appealing about the animation. And then also, I guess part of me was like, is this gonna feel too similar to real world stuff? In a way, that could have been a good thing if they had done it right. But Mike Shock, no. And we'll get into. Let's start with the positives. This show can be very funny at times. Keep in mind, I say at times. There's a whole reveal in the final episode about the president at the time during 9/11. If you know, you know. And the whole reveal involving Spy Kids, that was pretty funny. I don't want to spoil that joke, but that joke's pretty funny. There's there's jokes like that work. There's jokes about the dad trying to blend in and this time and all that stuff that work. There's other things that are kind of funny. And there definitely, even though I didn't love the show overall, there is a heart to the show, and I could feel that. And also I could feel if maybe when we get a season 2, which, I'm sure is coming, only because there's 10 episodes, ends on a cliffhanger, which doesn't mean automatically we'll go to season 2, but usually animated shows, they don't just greenlight 10 episodes. I guarantee that they probably greenlit 20, and they're releasing them as season 1 and season 2, so we'll see the rest of the batch later next year or something like that. But anyways, I can see this show starting to refine itself and clean itself up a little bit more. Because there's I definitely felt like, hey, this is someone's real life experiences. There's a lot of humor here that works. It's not perfect, but I think that's all I really have to say. Oh, the dad storyline was really emotional at times. There's a great episode where he starts singing a song, and you can just see the fear and anxiety in this dude who's trying to protect his family during a terrible time. And certain things like that. And now let's get into the show a little bit more. Spoilers. The problem with this show is it's a lot of ideas that just don't come together. There's a whole episode with this FBI agent, and that stuff was there. And in the background, the dad gets on Fox News. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, they're going to make fun of Fox News. They're going to do a whole joke, which that's pretty funny. You could satirize some of the way things were being talked about on Fox News during the 9/11 era stuff, right? That'd be pretty funny. But they didn't do that. Like, it's just, the joke is that he was on Fox News. They barely even show you his interview. I was like, okay, that's a weird idea to set up and not do anything with. There's an episode where there's lots of stuff with the dad I mentioned there was one scene that got me pretty emotional, seeing the dad's fear and anxiety, but most of it's just played for laughs. The mom has a subplot where she's seeing her dad as a ghost and he's haunting her and she's not exactly sure why. And I like that storyline, but it kind of takes too long to get going anywhere, so I'm just kind of more like, I keep forgetting it's happening, and then when it gets picked back up again, I'm interested, but then I forget it's happening. There's a subplot with the oldest daughter running for class president, which is in a whole episode that didn't really care for the older daughter, and then she's she's gay, and then won't come out to people that she's gay, and she's afraid to do it, and I like that storyline in theory, but it's brought up in the first episode and randomly in a couple other episodes, but not really touched upon more than one episode, and then it's just kind of thrown into one episode and not really addressed very well. And also I don't like that most of the episodes are following the main kid in this show, because he's not a very interesting kid. He's pretty generic. He's also kind of shitty. His storylines. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to watch storylines about a kid who has fantasies about fucking his teacher. Because that's a real world thing that goes on in the real world, and we have enough problems with that, and that I don't feel like, it'd be one thing if it was really funny, I guess, right? Because comedy isn't meant to always be like one-to-one with the real world, so obviously, just because you're playing something as laugh here doesn't mean like you're endorsing in the real world, but like, it's still like, the way they played it was just, I'm not interested in this is gross. His storylines about being popular and stuff, and his design sucks. Like, most of the episodes are him wearing a jersey that says balls because he got it from immigrants or whatever. I'm like, the character's design doesn't look good, his voice is not really interesting, and his whole character isn't interesting, so I'm like, I'm done with that. Yeah, and then there's like stuff like that. So again, the show's heart was in the right place. Some gags really worked. Also, I just think some gags in the show come out of nowhere. There's a gag where in the first episode where the one daughter starts saying Muslim woman a lot, and it just spews out the letters, and it just keeps happening. And I'm like, is that a joke? Because it's not funny. It's not like irritating per se, but it is just like, what? So I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to hate on the show too much, because the show has its heart in the right place. Some of the gags are pretty funny. This is based on someone's real life experiences. You can feel that at times. But overall, it was just a very clunky, messy show that didn't come together. And then the other thing I want to mention, I've noticed certain people have been getting the wrong idea about this show. Like, I saw an ad for this show, and under the ad on social media, people were commenting, 9/11 is never funny. And it's like, the joke is not that this show is making fun of 9/11. Like, if you think this show is making fun of 9/11, just understand it's not. 9/11 is brought up in the episodes as a time frame to explore what these characters are dealing with. They're trying to fit in America, knowing that Americans being very hostile to them. And that's the other thing that I thought was really annoying, that I kind of alluded to early. I thought this show would parallel things to the real world more. Like, we do have shit the Trump administration's doing right now. Now, obviously, they didn't know that stuff was going to happen. The show was made long before this dude got reelected. But it is kind of like we have been experienced the same way he talks about immigrants for a long time now. And so we kind of knew some of the stuff was going to go down. And I feel like this show maybe should have played more into certain things. They kind of allude to certain things, like the one dude gets their uncle gets falsely arrested in the first episode for not really doing anything. Things like that, But I don't know. It still didn't just come together for me. I'm just like, okay, this is a show. It's kind of actually weird, because I actually do want to say I did kind of enjoy watching the show, so that's a win. but at the same time, I am a little just perplexed of all the things it was going for, because it really just did not fully come together by the end. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.